Hey there folks, the #1 Gel fan from the Infinite Jukebox here with another quick EP review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Gel EP, Persona. The latest EP from Gel, pioneers of hardcore for the freaks, originating from New Jersey, coming off of their 2023 full-length studio album, Only Constant, their first full-length LP to be dedicated solely to them after they released the 2022 split LP with Cold Bratz, Shock Therapy. And now here we are with their latest EP, Persona. And I gotta say, surprisingly, it is arguably, at least to me, their best work to date. Vocalist Sammy Kaiser has arguably never been in their groove quite as much as they are here throughout this EP's overall runtime, with a lot of their vocal stylings and the way that they deliver a lot of the vocal work on this record kind of coming across in a manner not too dissimilar from a lot of classic beatdown hardcore, yet at the same time there's a certain scratchiness in their voice that permits them the ability to have a certain metallic feel to them overall, which is really nice to see because it allows Kaiser to then act as a sort of force for this record to come across as even more raw than it already otherwise would have, which is very. Kaiser is a fantastic front person for this kind of band, and it really does show here on Persona, where I feel like they are at this point really coming into their own as a vocalist, and in turn end up being pretty fantastic here. And instrumentally speaking, I feel that this is a pretty interesting record for Gel as well, at least compared to some of their previous works, which have been comparatively a bit more singular in embracing their own unique takes on a more tried and true explosive hardcore kind of sound, a sort of meat and potatoes in your face kind of style that is still fairly omnipresent throughout this entire EP. Of course it is, you couldn't really expect anything else from them, at least at this point, but at the same time I definitely do think there are some more post-hardcore adjacent kind of tendencies going on throughout this EP that really do make it stand out from anything else that Gel has done in the past, and ultimately allow it to shine as maybe an interesting step in a new direction for the band creatively. This can especially be seen on the EP's closing track, Vanity, which sees Anthony Webster and Madison Nave bring some excellent riff work to that song in particular that I absolutely love, sort of almost being kind of sludge metal adjacent to an extent at least. I'm not necessarily saying that it sounds like something straight out of the Acid Bath catalog, but at the same time, it definitely does feel like a band that's going in an intentionally more heavy and at least metal adjacent kind of direction while never losing sight of their punk roots, which is a really beautiful thing to see, not necessarily going in the metalcore direction, not necessarily going in any sort of metal direction at all really, but definitely taking some influences that allow them to come across as more stylistically restrained for the sake of making sounds that are equally, if not more, heavy than anything else that they've done in the past. I mean, just generally speaking, the instrumentation throughout this EP is pretty fantastic overall. I mean, I really don't have any qualms about this record whatsoever from a performance-based standpoint, and with some really good production to boot, I can't help but walk away from this EP hoping that the quality of the sound being applied to a full-length LP from Gel will come across as successful as it does here on Persona, which is a truly phenomenal EP for a band that has been consistently solid, but never quite reaching these high peaks that they are here. And look, Persona is only around 13 minutes in length. There really isn't a ton of meat here. There isn't a ton for me to dig into or anything like that. There isn't a ton for anyone to dig into, but that's obviously the intent. And in that way, it feels like this EP manages to achieve so much more for Gel as a band than it really should be able to with such a limited runtime. But here we are, and if you are like me and didn't expect an EP that would at least to an extent show Gel going in a different direction, you will happily be proven at least reasonably wrong. Not only does Persona manage to propel Gel into a slightly new direction creatively, while also ensuring that they never lose touch with their punkish roots, their intense spark stylistically, but it also clocks in as one of the better EPs of the year so far for me, or at the very least one of the best punk-oriented EPs of the year so far for sure. I'm going to give this record 3.5 stars out of 5. And with that being said, that's the end of this quick EP review. Thanks for watching the Infinite Jukebox, and I'll see you in the next one.